I can't even remember the last time somebody asked us to do an offline ad or an offline campaign of any kind.
Yeah.
So the challenge for marketers out there, as well as brands, is to think about offline and the importance of it. There is a resurgence, I think, with the how inundated we are with mobile messages and our ability to skip and pass through to do something that breaks the mold. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Marketing on Tap. This is my mate, Danny Brown. My name is Sam Fiorella. Happy New Year to all of you. Hey, that was good.
That was good. It wasn't even planned either. I thought you were going to forget, so I better not forget, and you didn't forget. So.
Well, that's why there's two of us here, because singly we can't handle this. Well, welcome back, Danny, to you as well. And we today, folks, want to talk a little bit about an article that I read while we were on our holiday break. And it was an article in Curbed, which talks about the importance of billboard advertising. And it really caught my eye because everything that I'm typically reading and seeing in my stream is the importance of influencer marketing, the importance of targeted ads in games and mobile ads and everything. So, the article that sort of struck my fancy, I guess, is why billboard and outdoor ads are booming in the smartphone age. And it was really interesting. And the main, I guess, story in this article is about Netflix. Netflix, digital platform. We've talked about them many times on this podcast. They were looking for new content. So new producers, new actors, new writers to develop more content for their platform. And so they chose to take out some massive billboard ads in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And the article says, in the entertainment capital of the world, where your waitress could be producing a movie, Netflix chose to buy billboards. So I thought that was really interesting because we've often talked a little bit about omni-channel and the importance of online, offline, whether it was when we're talking about Sears or other retailers. So I thought this would be a really good way to start the year, especially in light of the article that we just posted on our Sensei blog about the trends to look forward to in 2019. And so this ties into that. I thought it was an appropriate topic. So that's what we're going to talk about today. But before we do that, what are we drinking?
We are drinking Old Tomorrow Brewing Monty's Aged Rye Ale. This is one of my go-to for winters. It's a glorious ale. It's basically infused with, obviously, some rye whiskey in there and the barrels. But they give it, you've got sweet oaky notes infused with rye spices. By the way, there's like a really storied history behind this ale. So go to oldtomorrow.com and check out Monty's Rye Ale. Oldtomorrow.com and check out Monty's Aged Rye Ale because of the whole history. And it's a great story behind it. It's a low IBU at 16, so it's not too bad. ABV sitting at 6.2, which is nice.
Nice.
And it's 100% Canadian rye whiskey and aged in oak wood. So it should be a good one. Ooh. And we've poured Robert some to give him a nice Robert.
All right, Robert.
But yeah, you can smell the vanilla and the caramel and everything coming through there.
I like it. I'm going to get the webcam going.
Make sure you record this time, not
Yes, I do.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, I like that.
It's good, right? It's really good. It's a shame this podcast or vlog isn't in Taste-O-Rama. just to be sure.
That's what we got to do. We got to do Taste-O-Rama. Oh, you know what? I really like this. Rob, you're going to have to expand your beer palate. Okay, cheers, everybody. Let's get on to the topic. So, Danny, you read this article, right?
I did, yeah.
I sent it to you earlier. There's some really interesting statistics here. What were some of the numbers that we're finding? Because I'm surprised, actually. I shouldn't be surprised. I don't know why I say that, because there are billboards everywhere. I haven't seen any billboards empty. So why is it surprising to me that it's still a thing?
I think, it's a mobile first world. We're always told it's mobile first. Exactly. I mean, coming in on the train this morning, you look around you and everybody's there and either playing games, checking emails or whatever. So everybody's mobile first. So people are expecting, everybody's on their phone. There's no time to look at billboards and that. But an interesting point the article made was the fact that, yes, you're on your phone, but you can quickly skim by ads or anything. You can't skim by an ad, a billboard that's in your face, traveling by on the train or walking to the office. You go up to, Bloor and Dundas here in Toronto. massive. It's like New York Times Square.
Yeah.
And it's billboards everywhere. And some get lost, but some of the big guys that are there, it just stays there. And I think with certainly digital out-of-home advertising, like the brand lift and recall that you can get with your advertising campaigns, makes it still a valid,
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. And the interesting thing about the flipping, and yes, everybody's constantly, and it's funny because I was thinking the exact same thing today when I was the train platform. While everybody was waiting, I would say 99% of the people had their head down into their phone, and there were billboards.
Right.
I was thinking about it on the way in. There were billboards like across from the train that I don't think a lot of people saw. So that was, I thought, okay, well, which one is actually working?
Yeah.
But on your phone, not only can you skip past ads, you can close down the ads, right? And so, or you can, change your preferences necessarily, see what kinds of ads you want, don't want. So there's less control by the advertiser necessarily in terms of what you see, because you can scroll past, skip. With billboards, think about the contextual advertising that can happen when you have you're walking downtown and there happens to be the store there, and there's a billboard that's directing you to the store,
right?
Or because of the geography, there's something about the climate or something about the culture, and you place an ad specifically there. I'm thinking contextually, you might be able to target even better with outdoor ads as opposed to the indoor, or as opposed to the mobile ads, or Facebook ads, where everybody's trying to stay away from anyway, right?
Yeah. Well, no, certainly when I used to work at the government agency I worked with,
yes,
they had a lot of offline data because of their client base. It was primarily people that had to go to brick and mortar retail stores to
buy the
purchase.
product.
Yeah, exactly. And so they had a shitload of information about that customer base, and the advertising by billboards, etc., was geared towards the demographics of that postcode of that that clientele. So if people could only afford to buy $10 or $20 product, that would reflect in the advertising. If it's more affluent, bigger advertising.
That's actually a really good point, because a lot of the transactions that we're having online, the data that you're collecting about their preferences and their habits, when you marry it to their postal code, right, now all of a sudden you can better target that in live, we have in live, basically those, the physical ads that you put in people's faces.
Yeah, exactly.
That actually makes a lot of sense when you think about combining the two. So it's not just about omni-channel when it comes to have offline and online and make sure they work together, but look at the analytics of your online and use what you're learning from that engagement to then better target your offline and billboard style ads. I know that in New York, I see this quite a bit. I'm going there next week, where basically it's digital ads that are the sides of bus shelters.
All right, yeah.
Right. So now, and that's the other thing, I've noticed there's been a couple of viral videos that have gone around where they put interactive videos where, you walk up and it actually engages with you.
Right. Yeah.
So there's some really funny stuff and interesting stuff that can take a lot of money. But again, if you take a look at what are people engaging, the geolocation that we can track, right? If we know that people in a particular city or in a particular neighborhood are engaging in certain types of activity, it would be really interesting to then, in almost real time, to be able to mimic or mirror that engagement on the sides of these digital bus shelters.
Yeah.
Right? Whether it's something that's interactive or at a minimum, maybe has a second phase. So let's talk about that. It's important. I think we're all agreeing that offline and online multi-channel is there. What's some recommendations we can give to people about working together? Like, how do you make online work with offline? Do you just mirror the two? Are they just separate and you're tracking them differently? How do they?
No, I think you can tailor it. I mean, you mentioned we've got a whole bunch of online data tools available to us. And I know Google over in Germany, they're trialing a pilot at the moment where they'll target the advertising using their double click platform, and they'll target the advertising to people that are walking by bus stops, as you mentioned, or billboards, etc., based on their Android phone and the knowledge that Google has of that Android user. So it kind of gets almost like Minority Report. Remember the Minority Report? He's walking through and everything's popping up, based on your likes. So no, I think you have to work together. It's like we've spoken before, how PR, marketing, and advertising has to work together to really, punch the most effective way, if you like, for the clients.
Yeah. So. If that was, I mean, if for example, if Netflix was our client, and they came to us and said, "What are we going to do?" They're not, by the way. Netflix, if you're out there, if you want to hire us, give us a call. But I mean, like one of the things that they did is, they're really striking ads, very visual, but there isn't a lot of call to action between the billboard and an offline channel. So it's $150 million that they spent on this billboard ad, which is a fair number, but there was very little interactivity. I like the idea of offline advertising. I like the idea of guerrilla event-based advertising, again, because you can place it where people are walking, not just where they're swiping and surfing. But I would have liked to have seen a call to action that drives you back to the mobile app or to the desktop. So while you're there,
even just like scan a picture or something, scan the code.
That's not QR code. We don't want to do QR code. Scott Stratton's going to lose his mind if you say QR code. All those kittens that are going to die. But I mean, they do work. But yeah, something to the effect of where there is something up there. If you want, you can gauge the reaction and the success if you're driving to some kind of call to action, or if the billboard is part of the online engagement.
Yeah.
Joel Ostrowski had this. Remember the ad that we did? Yeah, the Fat Jewish. Yeah. He had an ad that he was promoting for a wine. White girl wines or some white wine, where there was a billboard, I remember, of a bottle coming down, pouring into a glass, and then he stood there like with the perspective, and it made it look like it was going into his mouth. There's like a, you know what I mean? And then he took a selfie of himself with that board. So not only did the billboard get a lot of ads, but then through him and through his social platform, it got a lot of additional online. Yeah. So, and then of course he asked all of his followers to do it. And then there was this viralness that happened around that. So the idea of having that offline connect to the online, and then based on your analytics with your online, better produce your offline. I really like that idea. And I think that's something that we have to look at. If you're a brand out there, if you're a marketer out there looking at doing digital, the digital and the offline should really interact with each other and play off of each other.
Well, especially when you look at something like a trade show where you can really, like lock in a geolocation for that event. And then you've got call to actions at various booths or various, demo products areas or whatever. And then you see how many people actually took action within that, what their phone system was, when they took it, was at a busier time of day, demographics based on Google data. There's a whole ton of stuff you can do to mix up the offline and the online components and vice versa.
Yeah, no, I agree. The other thing that I think is important, especially when it comes to trade shows, that sparked something lately in a lot of the campaigns that we're working on. The notion of a pop-up shop or similar, depending upon the nature of the business and the industry, is coming up more and more and more, I'm noticing. So using digital marketing or advertising to drive people to some physical event, and then use that physical event, whether it's like a pop-up shop for a retailer or an event at a trade show, some kind of, whether it's in the trade show or at a hotel locally or outside of the show. We've been doing a lot of this stuff lately where you drive people to that event and then have them use their phones or whatever type of, for a game or for some selfie promotions or something that then drives more visitors in and then more people to the brand. So don't get stuck for for the people that are listening that are looking for some ideas. Don't get stuck on the traditional billboard ad or, bus shelter ad. Offline advertising could also be an event. Right. So like the idea of a pop-up shop or, some type of guerrilla marketing event, I think as long as you're incorporating the digital, like whether it's a lead up, or if you're going to plan something that's maybe like one of those flash mobs, do a flash mob, but then make sure that there's an embedded digital call to action for the people either watching or for the people participating, so that it's got some legs online after the fact. I think that would really work. All right, so we're getting the bell, the notice. That's our last call bell. Thank you, Stephen, for our bell.
It survived the new year.
It survived the new year.
I thought that would have been rung out all over the place with the new year coming in.
Yeah, no, I did it. So, Danny, in your best attempt at speaking English, what is your last call, last thought that you want to leave everybody with on this topic?
Well, Samuel, this is what I would say.
Is that a Scot trying to do a British accent?
I have no idea what that was. I have no idea what the heck that was. That was some weird voice that popped in my head. The voices. No, I think we've spoken before on the channel, and don't be afraid to mix up using all the data you've accrued online, whether it's by Facebook Insights, Google Analytics, email campaigns, etc., and tie that back into geolocation, so zip codes, postal codes.
Right.
Even like the revenue that we know these people, like the spending budget these people have based on where they live, and then tailor your offline stuff to actually drive that back to your website or a physical retail location or physical location. I don't know if that makes sense, because you threw me when you asked me to speak English. That's asking a Scotsman to drink not beer.
I know that's one of the biggest challenges I know is speaking English for you. For me, it's more of a call to action. I want to challenge everybody as my final thought to get out of the digital world, because I notice even the clients, our existing clients and the new clients that keep asking us to do work with them now, the first thing they call us with is, okay, I've got a digital campaign idea I want to run by you. Very few people ask us, actually, I can't even remember the last time somebody asked us to do an offline ad or an offline campaign of any kind.
Yeah.
So the challenge for marketers out there, as well as brands, is to think about offline and the importance of it. There is a resurgence, I think, with the how inundated we are with mobile messages and our ability to skip and pass through, to do something that breaks the mold. Whereas digital was breaking that, clutter. Now digital has become so cluttered that let's go back to offline. And then to your point, how do they work together? But it's interesting. One of the stats that I read in that article that we started this whole conversation with indicated that the 4 of the 10 largest spenders on billboards are tech firms: Apple, Google, Amazon, and Netflix. So what do they know?
Yeah, exactly.
They know something clearly, that they're spending, a lot of money on these offline because it's working, right? Some of the ROI that they're tracking is pretty impressive. We're looking at almost 40%. They're calculating as in terms of an ROI, like uplift in sales or activity based on dollars spent or dollars earned, an increase of 40% over what it is that they've spent. So, and that's going to vary based on the company, but that would be my thing. I'm challenging you to, whenever you come up with an idea, think about what's the offline engagement and what advertising or promotion or event do we need to produce offline to augment and get more value out of that online, and then vice versa. So that's it for our chat today. Thank you, everybody. Robert, I need that glass closer to me because I'm going to finish it if you don't like it. If you like this podcast, what do?
They drink beer.
You drink more beer.
Yeah. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button and the little bell at the top to get the notifications when it goes live. Hit the little like and leave us a comment. Tell us what you thought about the show.
You're cut off. That's it. That's enough. Thank you very much, everybody. Until next time, cheers.
Cheers, guys.